For almost 40 years, one single, haunting question has echoed through France. It's a chilling mystery that was born from a family's jealousy, and it ended up costing a little boy his life. This is a story that absolutely tore a family, a village, and an entire nation apart.
And it all started with this phone call. Imagine a voice, completely cold and anonymous, delivering these words to the boy's uncle. In an instant, a frantic search for a missing child became an unimaginable nightmare. The caller's goal was simple and just terrifying: revenge.
And that really is the central question that has just hung in the air for 4 decades. Who was this person, this shadow who could do something so horrible to a 4-year-old boy? To even begin to unravel this mystery, we have to go right back to the start. But before we do, if you appreciate deep dives into compelling cases just like this one, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss what's coming next.
Okay, so our story begins in a small, quiet village in eastern France. It should have been a totally normal autumn afternoon. But for the Villemin family, it was the day their entire world just completely collapsed.
So Gregory's mother, Christine, was inside their brand new house. She looks out into the yard where her son was just playing, and he's gone. That wave of pure panic just sets in. She calls the police, starts a desperate search all around the village, but there was absolutely no trace of her little boy.
The search ended in just the worst way you can possibly imagine. Gregory's body was found in the freezing waters of the Villemin River. His hands and feet were bound. A wool hat had been pulled down over his face. He'd been drowned. The cruelty of it was just undeniable. This wasn't some random act. This was personal.
Now, to really understand this crime, we have to rewind a little bit. Because Gregory's murder, it wasn't the beginning of this family's torment. No, it was the horrifying climax of a years-long campaign of psychological terror.
For 4 years, can you imagine? The family had been getting these anonymous letters and phone calls. They all promised revenge against Gregory's father, Jean-Marie, who'd just gotten a promotion at the local factory. But what's so incredibly chilling is that the threats were relentless, but they never said why. The motive was a complete mystery.
So, the French public and the media, they needed a name for this mysterious tormentor, and they quickly landed on Le Corbeau, or the Crow. The name actually comes from this classic French film about a town that gets torn apart by anonymous, vicious letters. It was a fitting and really chilling nickname for a killer hiding in the shadows.
With the entire country horrified and demanding answers, the investigation started to zero in on a really shocking possibility: that the Crow wasn't a stranger at all, but a member of the Villemin family itself. Handwriting analysis of those threatening letters pointed right at Jean-Marie's own cousin, a man named Bernard Laroche, and this seemed to be confirmed when Laroche's 15-year-old sister-in-law told the police that she was with him when he kidnapped Gregory. Based on that, Laroche was arrested. It felt like a breakthrough.
But then, a stunning twist. The teenage witness completely recanted her testimony. She said the police had pressured her into it. With the key piece of evidence just gone, Bernard Laroche was set free. For Gregory's father, Jean-Marie, this was just an unbearable injustice. He was completely convinced of his cousin's guilt, and he went on record vowing revenge.
And he wasn't just talking. Jean-Marie ambushed his cousin at his workplace and shot him dead with a shotgun. This act of vigilante justice just added this bloody, tragic new chapter to the story. One murder had now led to another.
Just when it seemed like this case couldn't possibly get any more twisted, the investigation took its most devastating turn yet. The suspicion moved away from the dead cousin and landed squarely on Gregory's own mother, Christine.
A new set of handwriting experts came forward and claimed that Christine Villemin might have been the one writing the letters all along. It's just wild. While her husband, Jean-Marie, turned to violence, Christine began a desperate 11-day hunger strike to protest her innocence.
Her ordeal is just a profound personal tragedy. She was charged with her son's murder while she was pregnant with another child. She was eventually freed on appeal because the evidence was so flimsy, but after she was released, she collapsed and had a miscarriage. It would take 8 long years before she was officially and completely cleared of all charges.
So let's just recap. Jean-Marie is in prison for murder. Christine has been exonerated, and the main suspect, Bernard Laroche, is dead. The case went cold, but it never, ever went away. For decades, it's just remained this open wound in the heart of France. The sheer,
agonizing passage of time is just staggering. The case has been reopened again and again and again. Years of DNA tests on clothes, ropes, stamps, they all came back inconclusive. I mean, as recently as 2017, more relatives were arrested, but they refused to speak and were never convicted.
And the human cost of this unsolved mystery just kept growing. The original judge on the case, Jean-Michel Lambert, who had been really heavily criticized for how he handled the investigation, he took his own life, saying the pressure of the case being reopened 33 years later was just too much.
But now, there is a new glimmer of hope. Investigators are using a technology called stylometry. You can think of it like a digital fingerprint, but for writing. By analyzing the unique sentence structure, the punctuation, the phrasing in the crow's letters, they believe they might finally be able to identify the author and the killer.
Looking back on this whole case, it's hard not to be completely overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the tragedy. This is so much more than just an unsolved murder. It's a story of profound human failing on so many levels.
You know, for me, what really stands out is how a poison, and it was likely just simple jealousy over a small promotion and a new house, could fester and grow into something so monstrous that it destroyed an entire family. It also shows the failures of a justice system that was buckling under intense media pressure and the terrifying power of an unanswered question. But it also shows our relentless need for truth, the hope that even after 40 years, technology might, just might, finally offer some peace.
And that brings us to that final haunting question, doesn't it? After 40 years of twists, tragedies, and just nothing, can there ever be true justice for Gregory? I would really love to know what you think down in the comments. If you appreciate these deep dives into cases like this, please give this explainer a like and definitely make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what we tackle next. Thank you so much for your support. It honestly means the world. I really hope you'll join me again as we continue to seek some kind of understanding, even when we have to look into the absolute darkest of shadows.